the way he improves from the first half to the second half of these games shows, and I hate to use that Brady-like because I'm not trying to do the comparison, but he learned how to mentally play quarterback behind Tom Brady. He learned how to sit down at halftime and evaluate, and it's indisputable that from the first quarter to the second quarter to the third quarter to the fourth quarter, he gets better as he sees an opponent more during a game. That cannot be understated either. The mental capacity to literally adapt to your opponent as the game's going on and get better. That's a skill that many quarterbacks don't have.
Well, he's definitely a learning organism. That's always good for a quarterback, to have an intelligent, thoughtful, team-oriented guy who's not about me, who's not about stats, who's not about money. He's about his performance and winning. He's such an impressive young guy. As a matter of fact, as I look at all the games every week, a couple of guys really stand out at his position, literally. Russell Wilson stands out. He's, to my mind, right now. I will give Peyton Manning his props, but I think that Russell Wilson is the next best quarterback in the National Football League because he's played that way. He's put it on the field. He has not put his team in harm's way by turning the ball over, by doing foolish things, and that's the best thing about a quarterback, his judgment. If you got a quarterback who has great judgment, who after the game he puts on a suit and he talks to the media, he puts forth that good face of the franchise, if you will. He's a guy that I want as my quarterback. And through all this, from 1999 till now, I've said I wanted that kind of quarterback. I don't care what the rest of the team is like, because when you have that guy, you can infuse hope in everybody else. And the Browns, he's a regular guy, but he doesn't throw teammates under the all, and he performs on a high level week after week after week after week. He's been, to me, the second most impressive quarterback in all of the NFL, especially when you consider he doesn't have the implements in the passing game save Jordan Cameron. I think Andrew Hawkins is playing over his head, and all of the receivers are really playing over their head, or at least to potential, and that helps him. But I think he's the one with the least to work with. Brady doesn't have a lot to work with, but Brady isn't playing well either. As a matter of fact, I got into a heated discussion with a guy on Twitter the other day, and a couple of weeks ago I was watching Tom Brady, and I said, well, looks like the end of the Brady era is coming to an end. Now, I didn't say he was through. I didn't say he was sorry. I didn't say he was playing badly. I didn't say any of that. I said it looks like to me that the end of the Brady era was coming to a close, because Brady is always sharp. Brady is always up. Brady always does what it takes to get his team over the hump. But Brady's not been on. He's not been sharp. And so it looks to me like he's starting to lose a little tread off the tire. I said that. And I got into a thing where, I was saying that Brady was done, and Brady doesn't have this, and Brady doesn't have that. Well, neither does Brian Hoyer, but Hoyer has been sharp. Now, his accuracy could be a little bit better. I'd like to see it improve, and I think it will. But I think Brian Hoyer has been very, very impressive as a quarterback, and that gives, I think, Browns fans and myself a lot of hope that this thing will finally get turned around and finally go in the direction they needed to, starting Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers at First Energy Stadium. The stadium, right. The Tennessee-shaped scoreboards.
He gets a chance here to do. I said when you get these, you're 0 and whatever in opening day. You're this and this on the road. It's been 17 years since you won a game on the road. When it's been 37 years since you beat the Steelers, those things go away as you knock them off the list one by one. Then people can go, oh, they won their last road game. Oh, they won their last game against the Steelers. That's how you change things, is by just change it. You start right here, and they've had a couple of those. You had the season opener, or the home opener, I should say. You didn't do the season opener, even though you came back. You went on the road and won a game. The next one is the Steelers, as you point to them there. They're Roethlisberger, 18-1. That's the only number you need to throw out there. He owns the Browns every bit as much as Jimmy Haslam does, and you got to stop that. And that's the only scary thing is, they were making Jake Locker look like Roethlisberger there for a minute before he went out of the game. You got to bring these guys down when you do get that rare pressure in the backfield there. You got to bring them down. Roethlisberger's better at that than anybody, but that's where you go next. Now they're coming home. Are you a different team? And it's a good measuring stick. Let's see where you play these guys compared to game one and how you started the season.
Well, they've only beaten Roethlisberger twice. They beat him in
twice.
13-6, and they beat him in 12, 20-14. They've only beaten them twice in his time as the quarterback. And so what that says to me, out of 20 games, they've won 2. It's even bigger with the Steelers. They played 31 games since they've returned, only won 5. It's time to put this portion of their recent past to bed. And it appears to me that this organization doesn't count anything before 1999. That's fair, because the Browns existed in a different situation prior to 1999. They've been a shell of their former greatness and glory after September 12, 1999. I was there. It was pitiful, 43-0. Payback for 89, 51-0. Okay, fine. But since then, they have not played well. And they're going to have to play well because Le'Veon Bell has morphed as he's lost weight into one of the better backs in the league. He catches the ball well out of the backfield. He rampages down the field. He picks up blitzes and pass rush moves very well. Le'Veon Bell is an excellent, excellent player, and they're going to have to stop him because looking at the first Pittsburgh game, it was Le'Veon Bell's play that really set the Steelers up to have a good day in the passing game. Big Ben threw for 365 yards on a beautiful corner route to Antonio Brown, beating Joe Hayden, and they're going to be looking to do more of that. So the Browns have to first stop Le'Veon Bell. I think this is a good week to get their run-stopping groove on. Put all those big, fat bodies on the inside, cut off those inside running games, the double-A gaps, shut those down, and then guard to the outside. Put your speedy linebackers in the game, put packages in and out, and put some more speedy rushers on the edge to give Big Ben some trouble, and play a defense on the back end. I'm going to need it from Joe Hayden and Justin Gilbert and Buster Screen and Dante Whitner and Deshaun Gibson. I'm going to need it from them, too, because this game is going to be won on the offensive end. We see we can't outscore them, or we didn't outscore them in the first game. The Browns did not outscore them. We know that. But they can't get in a shootout with these guys. They have to shut them down and then do what they do on offense. And I believe if they can play better on defense, turn the ball over, not turn it over, same formula. Clean play, good quarterback play, booming running game, and I think they'll have a chance to win. Not closely, but going away for a change, because if they stop the running game, that's the key for Pittsburgh. It always has been, always will be. They can win Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I know you don't do predictions, Kendall. Last thing. Does your gut tell you that this Browns team is ready to take that Steelers?
Well, I think after the way they've played this year, I think the confidence should be building. If I were playing, I would think that I have a chance to win, especially with number 6 behind center, a good offensive line, a great running game, guys in the passing game stepping up big time, Jordan Cameron uncoverable by those great Pittsburgh Steelers linebackers. Yeah, I would think that this is a week that Cleveland can win. And if they win this week, I don't want to take anything for granted because they've got Jacksonville next week, Tampa Bay coming up. They've got some eminently winnable games that they can win, and it could be the start of something big. Let's just put it this way. this is not a throwaway game. They have to have this game if they want to not go into the middle of the season where they have a whole lot tougher sledding, okay? After games 9 through 16, it's very, very, very tough. So they're going to have to be, I would say, if they can go to 6-2 by the time they get to their tough streak of games, the Cleveland Browns could be on their way to their best season in their renaissance. They could be, because after they finish this streak, they've got they've beaten the Titans. They got the Steelers, Jacksonville, Oakland, Tampa Bay. Certainly not a juggernaut, so they can win the next 4 in a row, taking them to 6-2. And then they've got Cincy, Houston, Atlanta, and then another break in Buffalo, who I wouldn't really call it a break. Buffalo is good. They beat Detroit in Detroit last week with Kyle Orton, a career journeyman. But then they've got the Colts, the Bengals, the Panthers, and then the Ravens.
Yep.
So they've got some 8 straight good games that if they can eke out a win or two after going 6-2, there'll be a chance for a big game. So, yeah, this is a big game. I think they can win. What does my gut tell me? I really don't know. I'll have to see how they're playing, see what their mindset is, see how serious they are, see how resolved they are. If they have those things resolved, confidence, mindset, I would say they can win. But if not, if they still think they can win, they won't beat Pittsburgh. So they have to come in with a mindset and their defensive guns ablazing if they want to beat the Steelers.
Kendall Lewis, the BSK, always, and you know what, this week especially, I'm glad we were able to find a way to get you on. Good conversation. It's Steelers week, and I'll top 2. If you win this week, not only do you set yourself up for what's coming, but, you know, you start to change that past, that history. Like we said, you start to change the way teams look at you, and it's a division game, and you've already dropped a couple of those. You've got to pick this one up here because, you know, Hoyer said it best yesterday. The Browns, you know, you don't, any team, not just the Browns, you win your division because there's been plenty of teams that win 10, 11, sometimes even 12 games and don't make the playoffs because they didn't win their division. So that's something, and matter of fact, I was telling people a couple weeks ago, I simulated out this whole season on 11-5, lost to the Ravens on the final game of the season, lost the division and missed the playoffs because 11 wins wasn't enough to get them in the wild card. So that'll show you how easily that can happen. But we'll see.
Well, I'll tell you this, J-Rod. I simulated this game this week also. The Browns won by a score of 26-12. All right, 26-12. If it turns out like that, I think Browns fans will be happy.
And it's funny you said 6-2 because in my simulation, that's where they were after 8 games. They started off 1-2, then they ran off 5 in a row. So we'll see. But you got to beat Pittsburgh first. Let's see how they do that. The crowd's going to be rocking. And I've got some people that have been down there say the atmosphere down there has been different than it has in most of the years since 1999. That's what happens when people start to feel the vibe turning. But if you don't win, then people start to feel like it's the same old, same old. So we'll see. Kendall, so glad we could catch up. Next week, we will see how the Browns handled the challenge of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, J-Rock, you take care. You guys hit me at the BSK Says on Twitter, all right?
Absolutely. Hit him up on Twitter at the BSK Says. Kendall, you have a good week. Enjoy some football.
You too, J-Rock.
All right. Kendall Lewis, and I'm so glad that he was able to get out of his way and get back on with us. I thought we were going to miss him. Thank you. Apologies again to Bruce for dumping you on the phones. If you want to call back, I'll open them up. But we're going to get you a break and some news. Eddy Jansen's going to join us next. First time he's been on with us. As I said, former sports director over at BW Radio. He does More Than a Fan Cleveland, beat writer for the Cavaliers. We'll talk a little Cavs hoop with Eddy Jansen here. Play-by-play for many sports across the Parma cable TV. Lots of different places. I'll talk to him next, bring him to you. We'll talk some Cavs after the news. We've still got BJ Rudell, fantasy football for winners, and so much more coming up in hour 2 of the Sport Fix.
We here at the Sports Fix want to make all of your dreams come true.
What about my dream?
Edith, I told you I can't build you a candy house. It will fall down. The sun will melt the candy. It won't work.
It will if it never rains.
Oh, maybe not all of them. Get your fix on the Sports Fix.
This is head coach Gary Waters at Cleveland State, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires,